Hey, good morning, friends. Just type down VIC in the chat window if you can hear me loud and clear. Just type down VIC in the chat window. Okay, I can see VIC. Okay, I have also started my camera, so I hope you are able to see me loud and clear. Okay, great. So, a very good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing? So, welcome to the second chapter of the Southeast Data Science Conference. So, today we'll be having Mr. Juan Kanggrawan from Jakarta. Hi, Juan. So before even handing over the session to Juan, I'll just start with a brief introduction of Juan. So first of all, Juan, thanks actually for joining us today as we move into the second chapter of the C Conference 2022. So Juan is he's a very versatile professional and an international speaker with global exposure, and he will be talking about the impact of data analytics in smart city projects. So in India itself, these smart city projects have been rapidly growing. So that is something we will be understanding from Juan, that how analytics is being implemented in that particular domain itself. So Juan is currently working as a head of data and analytics at Jakarta Smart City. His key role is to fully utilize the data to drive strategic initiatives, including policy formulation and Jakarta Super App's product development and direction. Yeah. So, with the will to drive organizations to make better and faster, Juan has 12 plus years of experience in the data analytics business, government, and technology. Yeah. So, in this conference, Juan is basically going to speak about three things. I'll just give you a high level overview of the agenda for today, and then I'll obviously hand it over to Juan. So, here, Juan is going to speak about, first of all, the smart city roadmap that he has been working on, strategic impact of data analytics, as I have already mentioned, and most importantly, success stories and concrete examples that everyone can actually relate it with. Yeah. So with that said, I would welcome Jon over here to the session. Jon, I think you are able to unmute yourself, right?
Sure. Can you hear my voice? Is it clear?
Yeah, it's pretty clear. Yeah. Okay. Over to you, Jon.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks for the introduction. I think I really appreciate. Thanks for your time as well. So I think I have checked with the committee as well. Please correct me if I'm wrong. In terms of the timing, I have around plus minus 30 minutes for my presentation. And I think after that, we will have the Q&A session. And actually in every presentation session, I prefer to have a bit longer in terms of the Q&A and discussion. So during the discussion and Q&A, you can share not only questions to me, but also your thought, your inputs, comments, and so on. So just to give a response from the introduction, yes, exactly. From India, I also learned from Jakarta and Indonesia context about the development and also the progress of smart city in India. Even I had done several conferences, discussion sessions at GD with some of the government officials in India, some of the ministries, and also some of the notable tech companies in India. I think it's my pleasure as well to learn from you, and hopefully my session here will be useful. So again, the big umbrella of the event, if I understand correctly, is about the impact of data science. So I think we have heard a lot about data science. So in this specific context, so on top of the other speakers, I believe they may give you explanation from diverse perspective. So in my current context is to share the flavor from the government, smart city, and also how we blend and also implement technology in this context. So hopefully my sharing will be relevant and useful for you. So allow me to share my screen. I think I just shared my screen. So hopefully all of you can see my screen and slides, and let me present this fully. So I think I need the help from the committee or the moderator. Can you see my full screen?
Yeah, we can see that perfectly. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Thank you. So allow me to start. So as I mentioned, I will take around plus minus 30 minutes, can be a bit less or more. But from my slides, hopefully you can get the context, especially how Jakarta Smart City, we are using data analytics. So my title here is Jakarta Smart City Journey from Data Analytics Perspective. So again, my slide is not that confidential. So for the organizer or committee, feel free if you want to forward this or distribute further to all the relevant participants. As already mentioned, I am Juan Kanggrawan. So I'm the current head of data analytics and digital products of Jakarta Smart City. So quick notes from me. So feel free to reach me via, let's say, email, WhatsApp, and so on, just in case you want to collaborate with me. I'm very open with discussion FGD conference, even some of the research initiative, let's say with the university research agency. I've been doing that even until now. So feel free to reach me as well. And I have my own personal website. Feel free to take a look if you want to know me a bit better. And there is the contact section as well over there, just in case you want to reach me, share your thoughts, your ideas. I'm very open as well. Yeah, so that's a very brief intro about me. And again, in terms of the structure for today's presentation, I think it's already mentioned, yeah, by the moderator. I think, yeah, thanks for that. So this is my structure for my presentation. So the first two, actually, it's more for introduction, yeah. So the first one is the introduction of Jakarta Smart City, which is the overview, so you'll be able to appreciate. Then from the second one is about the context of data analytics. So I think when we talk about data, we cannot escape, yeah, from the overall or from the broader context whereby I'm working in Jakarta Smart City, the context of Jakarta, the context of Indonesia, and also Asia region. So from there, I will share with you what we have done so far in data analytics. And the third one, as already mentioned by the moderator as well, I will share the success stories and concrete examples. So I think, I believe these success stories is not only useful for Jakarta or Indonesia, and hopefully we can apply the mindset, the initiative, the principles, let's say to India, even to other countries in Asia, and even to the other region as well. That's my hope. So again, my key point or my key presentation will be the last part, the point number 3, about my success stories and concrete examples. And hopefully from there, you will get better understanding, and hopefully it will trigger you some of the thought perspective, and feel free to raise questions as well later on. So let me share a bit about the context of Jakarta Smart City, which is the overview. So this is my first slide. So when we talk about smart city, we cannot separate that, yeah, from the direction of our city as a whole. So in the Jakarta, we are trying to move towards City 4.0. There are many definitions from the industry, from the research, and so on. Even some people already claim there is such thing like Society 5.0 and so on. But again, apart from the debates and discussion, so in the end, what we want to achieve is how the citizen and government can have a more proper and dynamic interaction. So we want the citizen to be the co-creators and the government to be the collaborator. So for us as the government unit, we are not only sharing information, policy, service, and so on, but what we want to do is to have the interactive interaction and also discussion, and also we can sit down together and develop ideas together. So from there, we know there are so many complex challenges in the city. I think in Jakarta, I believe applicable to many cities in India as well, but it doesn't stop there. We should be able to share our thoughts, our idea, and how we can drive the comprehensive solutions together. I think that's the mindset that I want to highlight. And the next one, this is the framework that we have. I will not cover everything, but again, what we want to achieve is the first inner circle, the white color one, is the direction, our city to be innovative and our citizen to be prosperous. I think this is our direction. And if you see the second blue circle from the inner circle one, so we have our principles: mobile first, system data driven, smart collaboration, and also digital experience. I will tell you later on how we can translate these principles into actual projects. And for sure, on top of these frameworks and principles, we need to align with the several smart cities pillars. For example, smart people, smart economy, smart environment, and so on, and even internal within Jakarta government agency, and also in Indonesia, and even with the global organizations like UN, United Nations, we have the sustainable or Millennium Development Goals. I think those are the directions and the criteria and indicators that we want to align, and hopefully we can push further and we can realize the concrete progress. And based on the initiative, as I mentioned, sorry, some of them is in Bahasa Indonesia. So from the 4 principles, mobile first, system data driven, digital experience, and smart collaboration, we want to translate those principles into actual initiative. So these are some of the initiatives that we are trying to do. And yeah, hopefully from this concrete initiative, there will be a concrete and the good benefits, yeah, for our citizens and all the players in the ecosystem. And again, when we talk about smart city, and I believe it is applicable everywhere because I've been working and collaborating with smart cities, let's say in ASEAN context, in India, in Japan, China, Korea, US, Europe, and so on. So I think this is the direction that we want to share from Jakarta perspective. So it's not sufficient for smart cities to stop only as the data gathering platform. So we need to move forward like a smart city as a service, as a platform, as a hub, and as an ecosystem. What we mean by that? So after we generate or we manage and get the integrated data, then we need to build something useful, which is services, digital services, not only for smart city, but across the government agency in Jakarta. And after that, we want to build exciting ecosystem. It means we want to work together with the industry, with the university, other government agencies, social organizations, and so on. So whether you like it or not, that in a smart city initiative and any digital initiative, we need to think about our stakeholders, we need to think about our ecosystem, and we need to think how we can work and move together. I think that's the direction that we want to achieve in smart city. And yeah, this is just a sum of the image and pictures from our office and our team. So this is our monitoring room, 24 hours monitoring capability. And also this is the one of our room in our office or lounge. And this is our team taken before the COVID-19 context. Yeah. So now I think we have around 150 up to 200 people, team in our smart city context. Again, that is the overview of the Jakarta Smart City. So hopefully you can appreciate and understand the context. And now I will touch a bit deeper in terms of the data analytics. So in this context, I will touch for sure about the data engineering, data science, machine learning, and so on. So from this context, I will relate how Jakarta Smart City has been utilizing the data and improving our analytics capability. So this is the strategic role. So in the end, what we want to achieve is to make better decision faster. So we want to involve and we want to help the decision makers, can be the governor, the vice governor, the director, or the head of agencies across Jakarta. So we can help them in making the decision. Can be the simple one or operational, like how to tackle, let's say, the trash or the citizen complaint, or how to tackle the existing, let's say, congestion in certain spots, for example, up to the strategic level. For example, like how we can deal with the COVID-19 or how we can improve the technology adoption across Jakarta, or how we can plan better in terms of our MRT routes and so on. So I think those are some of the examples that I can share. And for sure, in the end, the strategic alignment will be how we can improve the satisfaction from our citizen towards government through data-driven public policy and public services. So in the end, it's not about us, which is Jakarta Smart City, but how we can help the government to generate the public policy and how we can generate a better public services. And this is the team member under my team. We have around 20, 30 people right now. So we have several domains, which is the data science domain. We have the business analysis domain. We have the machine learning and pipeline domain. And also we have the research partner and collaboration domain. Because so far we have been working a lot with the startups, tech companies, with the universities as well. So even we are having our data science trainee, we have our research partnership collaboration and so on. So I think this is some of the snapshot in terms of my team member in the Jakarta Smart City. And yeah, this is the context of our working model. So I think we learned this from Spotify as well, the structure. We have tribe, chapter, guild, squad, and so on. So in the end, what we want to do, how we can work together in a more dynamic way. We know in government, I think it's quite common. We see the sectoral ego, silos, and so on. So one of the simple way to break this silo, I want my team to have the habit to work together with other team members from different division within Jakarta Smart City, and even with other government agencies as well, even can be with the national ministries. So let's say our data team work together with the IT development team, communication, marketing. Even during COVID, we have been working very closely with the agency of health, agency of education, agency of citizenship, and so on. So we want them to be open, to be collaborative. I want them to share the knowledge and also the perspective so we can learn together as a team. I think that's the idea. And yeah, I think in terms of the data, this is some of the example of the data that we have been processing, managing, and also delivering, yeah, in terms of the dashboard and also the products and so on. Again, not all of them are owned directly by Jakarta Smart City, but we work together with various agencies so we can build and we can develop and integrate this kind of data, started from the citizen aspiration, transportation, tax, flood, subsidy, and so on and so forth. So in the end, we're trying to integrate numerous data. So we are delivering the integrated data, and we can give further value add to the relevant government agencies as well. So that's the mindset. And again, this one of the example, as I mentioned, we have been working together with various government agencies and also with various smart cities initiative. So this is the example with Jakarta Berlin sister city, and we have been working as well with the European Union as well. So this is some of the initiative that we have been doing, Innovation Hub, and also we work with the startup ecosystem. We want to share our knowledge, expertise, and so on. We learn from one another. So this is one of the example that we have been doing. And for sure, I think personally, I've been working as well with some of the ministries, some of the smart cities initiative in India. So hopefully we can work closer and we can bring better benefits. We can bring better impact to one another. I think that's the idea and mindset. And I think this is one of the exciting model that I can share with you. So the idea here is we want to build innovation lab, whereby we collect the data, we collect the problem statement, we collect some of the ongoing initiative, and we open that to all relevant partners. Can be from the industry, can be from the university, can be from other smart cities. So the idea here, how we can use the existing data, we test that, and then we generate the initial pilot or the initial prototype. And from there, and if there is a successful usage, there's successful impact that we can bring, then we want to scale up accordingly. So I think that's the idea that we want to build in Jakarta Smart City and collaboration with the other agencies or with other institutions. Again, this is the super apps that we have been building. The name is Jaki, Jakarta Kini Indonesia, which is the recent or the latest Jakarta. So there's the English version as well. Feel free to type and search this keyword, JAKI. I think you can download it from the Android version and iOS. And the idea here is how we have 200, 300 government agencies in Jakarta alone. And in the past, they built their own database, mobile apps, website, and so on. So the idea here is to really understand the top services, the top features from those agencies, and how we can combine, how we can integrate in the single platform, and we can make a simple super apps for the citizen. So it will be useful and it will be easier from the user perspective. So we have been developing various services like the chatbot features during the COVID-19, so various services. We have the citizen ID, payment capability, and so on. So I think this is the trajectory that we are trying to do moving forward. And again, we have been working as well with some companies, let's say like the Unicorn Indonesia. We work with Google, AWS, some of the notable tech companies as well. So in the end, what we want to achieve is how we can really build this ecosystem, this platform that can be useful not only for Jakarta citizens. Even now we are working with some of the national ministries, how this model can be replicated to other provinces, to other cities in Indonesia. So hopefully the impact can be in the national level and maybe moving forward in the regional level as well. So I think that is the snapshot about the data and product from Jakarta Smart City. So in the next 5 to 10 minutes, I will share with you some of the success stories and concrete examples. So hopefully you can learn a bit better, and maybe there are some cases, there are some principles that can be applicable to your context, to India cities, to India region as well. So the very first simple example is this governor or the city dashboard. In the past, before I joined, there is no such thing like integrated view about the city. So let's say you imagine you are the governor or the governor team. You want to know the snapshot of your city. You want to know the number of traffic jam. You want to know the number of flood. You want to know the number of the subsidy utilization and so on. So I built this dashboard, and from there we can easily see the pattern week by week, month by month, year by year, and so on. So we know how the city is progressing from time to time. I think it's the idea, and it has been used even in the strategic weekly or monthly leadership meeting in the Jakarta government context. So I think this is a very good first step, yeah, how we can push data-driven initiative and how we can ensure the policy decision making is based on reliable data. This is another example whereby we monitor all the performance of the agency in Jakarta and even up to the subdivision and to the individual level. So we measure based on the goals and based on the progress. And from there, we know whether the status is green, yellow, or red, or red, right? So from there, we know which area that we need to follow up and which area that already progressing well and how we can improve accordingly. So when we assess this, it will be a good input as well, how we can improve our initiative from time to time, especially in the next, let's say, few years ahead, so we can do a more proper and systematic evaluation. So I think this is another example how we manage performance management in the Jakarta context. This is an example, especially in the last 2 years since early 2020. So we have been dealing with COVID-19. A lot of initiatives have been done from the health perspective, from the education, from the social, from the citizenship, and so on. So I think these are some of the analysis dashboard, and also we recommend several concrete recommendations to the schools, to the hospitals, and then to the way we manage and schedule our vaccination and so on. So I think this is the example that we have been driving so far during the COVID-19 context. And yeah, again, we are also building this policy recommendation, not only for our Jakarta government, but also for the national level and also for other international organizations, let's say like the World Bank, IMF, UN, and so on. So we have been working together on how we can make data-driven approach and data-driven recommendation. And from there, we generate policy briefs, situational report, and so on. Again, this is the example of how Jakarta Smart City is helping the citizens to share their aspiration. So in Smart City, there are around 15 channels whereby you can share your complaints, your inputs, can be about anything, can be about trash, pollution, can be about traffic jam, and so on. And from there, our government officials needs to follow up. So we monitor accordingly. So we monitor every month. There is plus minus 90% completion rate. Because why? They are monitoring and following this up seriously, because it is also related to their performance and also their so-called annual bonus for the government officials. So they are seriously monitoring and also following up. So we monitor the complaints from time to time based on the category, based on the responsible agencies, and so on. So I think this is a snapshot. And again, we are utilizing Internet of Things, sensor, and so on for various perspectives, let's say for ambulance, for truck, water pump, air pollution, and so on. Again, this is one of the idea whereby we use our data science capability to monitor fraud. Let's say we have done the utilization of subsidy for education, for the elderly, for the COVID-19, and from there we see whether there is any fraud cases, or if there is any, let's say in one family there are someone who get multiple subsidies, and we trigger that as a warning, and we from there we analyze and we monitor accordingly. I think that's one of the idea, the way we do fraud analysis in Jakarta Smart City context. And yeah, this is the way we use machine learning, video analytics to, in this context, is to detect the usage of masks, because we work together with the CCTV service provider and also with the startups in the Jakarta as well. Let's see how we can detect the, let's say, the max usage, and even, let's say, later on I will share more about the vehicle analysis. So I think this is some of the example that we have been doing so far. Even we detect the crowd situation in the public spaces during the COVID-19 context, especially during the social mobility limitation. So this is another example, the way we implement video analytics, machine learning for object detection. So we can detect the bus, the truck, the motorbike, and we know the direction. So from there, we can tell if there is any violence, or violation in terms of the policy, in terms of the, let's say, the traffic safety and so on. Even we have done as well our video analytics for the plate number from the vehicle. So from there, we can approximately tell the possible revenue in terms of the vehicle tax. So I think these are some of the initiatives that we have been doing so far in Jakarta Smart City from the video analytics and also from the machine learning perspective. So we did this kind of modeling as well from the COVID-19 context, whereby we try to understand the risk level from our citizen. Because during that time, if you remember, there were multiple time spikes in Indonesia and in India as well. So I think during that time, the hospitals are fully crowded, and we don't want everyone to go to the hospital because we want the urgent cases to be served as a priority. So for the low risk and medium risk, we recommend them several other recommendations. I think this is the way we have been dealing with the COVID-19 from the data science perspective. I think this is some of the way we do the geospatial analysis. So we see the zonation based on the, let's say, the residential area, office, parks, and so on. And we even monitor as well the context in terms of the air pollution, the CO2 emission, and so on, the carbon emission, and so on. I think from there, we also analyze the 3D modeling as well. So to see, let's say, the energy consumption, the tax in the office building, and so on. Okay, I think this is some of the example that I can share with you in terms of the geospatial and 3D analysis. And I think this towards the last part of my presentation, which is the mobility analysis. So in Jakarta Smart City, we have been working with Google Waze. So we know the traffic condition in every streets in Jakarta. And also we know the pattern from time to time, let's say minute by minute, hour by hour, and so on. So during the opening of the MRT in Jakarta, so we assess the impact, based on 3 phases. So the first one is before MRT, the second one during the trial period, and then the third one is after the operation of the MRT. So we observe in the southern part of Jakarta, the traffic is getting better. So the black color one is a very bad traffic. The orange color one is the traffic, but it's still already getting better. So I think this is the way we analyze. And from there, we can tell based on the data, how the impact of the MRT towards the region of the Jakarta, especially surrounding the MRT station. And this is the way we analyze our social mobility limitation. So we know from the street level and then also from the time pattern as well. Let's say from Monday, Tuesday, all the way until Sunday, and also from the morning and then from the evening pattern, and how we can observe the pattern in terms of the average speed, in terms of the number of traffic jam, and so on. So if you see of the traffic on the right side is the number of the average velocity. So during the social mobility limitation, naturally the traffic is getting better, and then the average speed of the street in Jakarta is increasing as well. I think this is some of the example that I can share with you in terms of the way our data team in Jakarta Smart City is building and developing the mobility and transportation analytics, and how we can help the citizen and government in making decisions. So I think that is my last slide. So before I stop my presentation and address the question, allow me to share my final notes about smart city and data. I believe you may come from various background here, maybe from the industry, maybe from the university as well. So in essence, when we use technology, when we use data, it's not for the sake of the latest tools only, but we want to ensure there's a proper impact. There's a concrete impact that we can bring to the citizen, to the cities, to the ecosystem, and also to the other government agencies. I think I want to encourage you, if you are really passionate in terms of the technology, you can learn for sure the new technique, the new tools, the new programming language. But in the end, you should ask yourself, after you have been you have built certain apps, certain solutions, then what will be the actual impact to the organizations, to the society, to the business, and so on. I think if you keep asking that question, you will go to the right direction, in my opinion, and you will be able to harness the full potential of the technology to bring the concrete impact and benefits. I think that is my closing notes and encouragement for all of you. And I think later on, I can address some of the questions here. And hopefully my presentation is useful for you and it can trigger you certain perspective, certain learning points, and hopefully you can apply some of the good examples to the cities and to the region in India as well. I think that's all from me. I'd like to pass it back to the moderator. And maybe after this, I'd like to excuse myself for 1 minute. Yeah, I need to go to the toilet for a quick break. After that, I can address the question. I pass to you first. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, sure. Sure, Jan, you can just take a sip of water if required, because I think there are tons and tons of questions flowing up in the chat window. So we'll just get started with the Q&A. So thanks, first of all, Jan, for giving us.
Yeah, wait for that. Yeah, before we go to the Q&A, allow me to go for 1 minute only. Quick one.
Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Stop my video. Once I'm ready, I will turn on my video again and I can address the question. Give me 1 minute.
Sure. Take your time. Okay, so I would just like to have a quick feedback about the session. So for that, what I'll do is I'll till Jan joins back. I'll just release a feedback form in the session. I would request Pranay to just roll out the feedback form. I want honest feedbacks about the sessions, about the conference that we have, organized till now, so that whatever we are planning going ahead, we can make it better throughout the process, topics, whatever you actually want to pursue. Yeah. So we'll just get started with the feedbacks, guys. We'll wait for 2 more minutes for Jan to join back, and then we'll get started with the Q&A. And also, whatever questions you guys have, what you can do is you can put it up in the Q&A window. I can see already 4 or 5 questions in the Q&A window. Whatever questions you guys can put it up. I'll start picking up the questions one by one, whichever, obviously we have a hard stop at 11, so we'll take as many questions as possible. Girish, I think Jan has already shared that in the beginning. So I'll just ask Jan to, put up that slide. You can take a screenshot of the same. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Just start putting up the questions in the Q&A window. Sagar, if possible, just put it up in the Q&A window. That would be better for me to actually start picking up the questions. Otherwise, I'll have to roll back the chat window again and again. Yep. I hope the Q&A window is accessible to everyone. And just let me know once you have started putting up the feedback. Jan is already back. So yeah, Jan, all good now?
Yeah, I'm ready for the discussion or Q&A. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. So first of all, Jan, some of the students actually want to go back to the context slide that you showed. If someone wants to directly, get in touch with you, can you just bring up the slide once again so that they can?
Oh, yeah, sure. I can type as well later on. Give me a moment. Yeah,
you can take a screenshot of the same. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Hold on. Yeah, let me type first. After that, I will share my screen as well. Okay, let me test whether I can type here. I type in the chat feature here. So this is my personal website. And again, I have my email as well. Let me type my email address as well. So feel free to take a look. And yeah, again, from there, I will share my screen. So if you want to, reach me, feel free to do so. Yeah, so this is my contact. I know some of you're from the university, or even some of you may have work. So yeah, you can reach me if you have certain events in your campus or in your company. You want to have like the brainstorming session, like a discussion session, presentation. I'm totally okay with that. Yeah.
Okay, I think everyone, you guys can take the screenshot of the same, and even it's there in the chat window. Vishal is asking, are you on LinkedIn, Jan? So
yes, I am. You can see in the in my website as well. And again, later, let me copy paste my LinkedIn page. And actually, you can see in the from my website as well. Yeah. So let me copy paste the LinkedIn. Yeah. Okay, I've done that.
Yeah. Okay, I think you are putting it in host and panelist. You need
sorry. Let me check to everyone. Okay, let me copy paste again. Sorry for that.
I have also done it for you. Yeah. Okay,
great,
cool. So I think let's get started with the Q&A then. Yeah. Okay. So the very first question that I can see in the chat window is from I think too many questions are flowing up in the chat window actually. So I'll just pick up the first and the basic questions from Vish Akhtar. So according to her, what kind of skills in data analytics do you think it's required to actually employ a fresher going ahead from the experience that you have in the past?
Okay, I see. So if I get your question correctly, what is the preparation or the skills that required?
Yeah, what kind of skills are required for in analytics for people who is a fresher to get into a job?
Sure. Okay, I will give you a brief answer, and maybe after this I will share my screen because I think there's a good diagram in the online. I think via Udemy or Udacity. Later I can share with you, and even I can share with you the link here. Let me share this brief answer first. So the typical so-called traditional or the simple answer here is the three diagram fan, which is we have the business, and then the IT or computing, and then mathematics. That's the very basic understanding, right? So we need to have the business or the domain knowledge, and then the IT or computing or programming, and then we have the maths. And actually, it's not sufficient to only understand in that level, because let's say we ask deeper, what do you mean by business skill? What do you mean by mathematical skills? What do you mean by computing? Because so many things, right? Computing, we have database, we have programming, let's say we have the paradigm of the developing the software, the system. Even for the business, what kind of business that you are referring to? Are you referring to financial service? Is it the government? Is it about the banking? Is it about manufacturing and so on? Even for the mathematics, are you referring to the statistics, or you are referring to the calculus, linear algebra, or which one? So again, there are so many complexities over there, right? But I don't want to make your life difficult. Again, you ask yourself, you can see in the industry, there are several job titles, the common one. I know there are several variations, but in principles, you have data analysts, you have data engineers, you have data scientists. These three are the most fundamental. Other organizations may have certain variation. They have AI engineer, ML engineer, visualization experts, and so on and so forth. I don't want to go too deep on that. But again, based on this perspective, you can tell, are you comfortable with, let's say, dealing with the business users? It means you want to talk to them, you want to share your thoughts, you want to share your recommendation. If you are in that level, maybe you are towards data analyst or business analyst. Then if you explore, okay, I enjoy database, I enjoy pipeline, I enjoy building a scalable solution, architecture, technical framework, for example, then I think you are leaning towards a data engineer. And if you are telling yourself, okay, I like to do data model, I like to do certain prediction recommendation, maybe data science capability is the suitable one for you. So I think that is the simple answer from me. And I don't want to make it sounds easy in the sense that it can mislead you. So I want to tell you, I think this one example, I'm not promoting Udacity, but I think this is the good example that I can find. So I will share my screen. I've shared the link as well over there. So if you see from that website, right, so you can tell there are at least several components here. You can just type data science skills, right? Then from there, you can see from the data analyst, let's say, and then also machine learning engineer, data scientist, then what kind of skills that you need from programming, visualization, data intuition, statistics, and so on. I don't want to go too deep. So if you click the website, you will go to here and you can see the further elaboration from the website itself. So that's my answer. But again, based on my professional and concrete experience, in the end, you need a mentor. I think that's very important. You need a mentor, you need portfolio. I think you cannot run away from these two. So first one, mentor, you need someone that you can ask. It can be from university, can be from the industry, can be your friends, can be your family, but you can ask, hey, if I want to grow in the data domain, what should I do? What kind of advice that you can give? I think you must have this kind of person that you can consult. I think it will be very important. Second, portfolio. Portfolio doesn't mean you must work in a company. Even at the university, you have assignment, you have final project, you have internship, you can go to hackathon, bootcamp, and so on. I always encourage the university students to open their mind to explore things. Go for hackathon and then explore things, learn new things, learn the problem statement, get the new data sets, and then use your programming language, your visualization tools, Python, R, and so on to build solutions. And from there, you put on your maybe personal website or Medium articles to demonstrate that you have done such thing. So I think if you want, even if you want to work, you want to get your own startup, you want to do your initiative, those two principles will be useful. And hopefully it is relevant for you. Thanks.
Great. I think we totally agree with Jan over here. So see, data science is nothing but it's playing with data. So just start picking up data, and you should start playing with. You can use any framework as Jan has mentioned, Python or whatever it is. Pick up a problem statement bring up the solution, and that's what data science is.
Yeah,
Amazing.
quick comment before you proceed. To respond to you. Yeah, it's something like I give this analogy like riding a bicycle or driving a car, right? You can read all the books about riding a bicycle and then about the driving a car, but you haven't really tried, then you will never know.
Exactly. True. Totally agree. Okay. So we'll go to the next question, Jan. The next question is that students out here want to understand how to use data analytics in disaster management out there, because we're talking about Jakarta, Indonesia. It's these kind of disasters like tsunami, these are very frequent over there. So we want to understand how data analytics is going to solve that problem over there. So just a brief light on that. Yeah.
Okay, I can give you a concrete example. Later, I will take my time to share some links. Yeah, again, sorry if this is in Bahasa Indonesia, but I think this is what we have. Even we have in the national level as well. Give me a moment. Yeah, let me check in the national level. Give me a few seconds. Okay, the simple answer here is we have the initiative with not only with the government agency in Indonesia, but also with some of the international agency, especially about disaster. Can be about tsunami, can be about earthquake, can be about pollution, and some other natural disasters. Yeah, so we have been doing that. Yeah, so in essence, I think what we need to do is to understand the strategic impact, which risks, which disaster that will be more relevant to Indonesia. Because from country to country can be a bit different, right? Let's say in general in US, maybe certain states, they get the flood disaster, or some region in Australia, they have the dry or the drought or the high temperature disaster. It happened, the heat disaster. In Indonesia, unfortunately, we have the province from all the way to the west to the east, right? So 33 provinces, and the situation can be a bit different. I can tell for sure there is a quake, let's say there is flood, there is certain other disasters, pollution, and so on. How we can deal with that? We have the proper, at least in the national level and provincial level, the framework, how we can categorize these disasters, what are the possibilities, what are the risks, and what will be the mitigation impact or the recovery impact. So every time we talk about disaster, we always talk about pre, during, post. What we should do during pre-disaster, and then what we should do during the actual event, what we should do after the disaster. So we have this framework covering the operational, covering the budget, covering the technology, and covering the partnership with the relevant let's say organizations. I think that we have been doing so far. So if you open the website, at least you can see the map, for example, and you can see the risk indicator. And then if it is about flood, you can see as well how we can monitor the level of water pump, and then the possibility of the flood to happen. So I think this is the example that we have been doing in Jakarta and Indonesia context. And I think I've been working with some of the government agencies in India, even some of the tech companies. I think it's highly applicable. I know in some of your region, you have flood situation, and in some of your region, you have the heat and drought problem, whereby it will affect the agriculture and so on. So I think you can have a more exciting and then a systematic approach and solution to deal with this. And I believe in the end it will help not only to the citizen and people like the farmer and so on. So I think this is my response, and hopefully this example can be useful. After that, let me try to find some of the other examples in Indonesia that is in English, so at least for you to be able to appreciate more. Because we have been working with the United Nations as well. We have been working with other smart city initiative to tackle all these challenges. Thanks.
Okay, one interesting question, Jan. That's from a student out here, that we are seeing data science really helping cities getting smarter, that you have already given us a brief intro about. Now we want to understand, apart from smart cities, what other notable areas are you seeing it's getting enriched with data science in the coming future?
Understand. I really appreciate that question, and this is my personal aspiration as well, because I receive this question a lot. Should we build smart city in every province or in every city in Indonesia or even in India? The answer is no, it doesn't have to. So my reply back is, the essence is how we can use innovation, technology to bring strategic positive impact to that city, to that region, to that country. I think that's the essence. So in my personal initiative, I've been helping some other provinces, some other government agencies to build the innovation capability. So some of them, they build smart city, that's one idea. Second one, they build what they call digital service. The third one, some of the ministries, they build what they call the digital transformation office. It happens in the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, and also Ministry of Finance, for example. If you know, our Minister of Education, he was from the unicorn, yeah, startups in Indonesia, Gojek, for example, Mr. Nadiem Makarim. If you heard the news, let me share with you some of the news later on in English for you to appreciate if you haven't heard. So I think this is the third one, which is the digital transformation office. The fourth one is about the e-government. It happens as well. There's a big e-government initiative. Or even the last one is you build like the professional technology consulting service under government. It can be done. It can be done under the state-owned companies. So I think there are several possibilities. So if you ask me, what is my hope about government and technology in Indonesia? I hope we can build and we can have more digital talent. That's one. Second, technology should penetrate. Technology should influence the division, the culture, and also the departments across ministries. So I always tell, data is not only for data team. Technology is not only for IT or technology team. We should ensure technology, data, innovation can be adopted across organization, across agency, across division. I think to me, that is the successful metrics or the successful definition in terms of the technology. If you only use technology in your department, in your domain without further impact, I think it's not really successful in a true sense. Yeah. So that's why to me, what I really wish, smart city can bring positive impact, not only to the smart city unit, not only to the Jakarta government, but to the ecosystem in Jakarta and Indonesia. So I think that's my answer. And I hope in your capacity as a student, you can be more open-minded. You don't have to work directly in the smart city unit or in the just technology agency. You can work even so-called quote unquote anywhere. Can be in the state-owned companies, can be even in the traditional companies, even in the banks and so on. But you try to have this mindset, how you can bring technology and innovation to give the concrete impact and also concrete benefits for your organization. I think that's my answer.
Okay, I think we totally agree on that, Jan. This is something which should be, taken up by each and every industry that we can see. It's not just IT as an industry totally. Yeah. Anyways, so coming to the next question, in that Jakarta Smart City project, we clearly, saw that the data is being used from different sources out there. So we want to understand about the data pipeline. How do you go ahead with the data pipeline? How are you collecting the data, etc.?
Okay, sure. I can share with you. I think I have my slides for that. And again, I don't want to dive to technical or to details, but again, let me share with you from my other slides. So this is the typical snapshot, yeah, or architecture. I will give comment later on. So let me share my screen. If you want to take a screenshot, feel free to do so. I'm okay, totally okay with that. So as usual, there is nothing new. So we have our ingestion domain or ingestion area. And from there, we have our so-called ETL, extraction, transformation, loading, and we have our workflow management, change management, and we have our data lake, data warehouse, data mart, and from there, visualization, and also so-called the data model deployment. So in a snapshot, this is the typical architecture and components in data team. My note is not only about this architecture, because in the end, we'll never run away from that domain, right? So we have the ingestion, we have the ETL, we have the workflow, we have the data lake, data warehouse, data mart, and also the visualization. So let me stop my screen sharing. I will continue my explanation. So the important part is not to just build the tools or the application, but the reasoning. Why you use certain tools at this point of time at this scale? And then how you should change the next 3 to 5 years. We know new tools always there. We have data mesh, we have, let's say, DBT, we have EPL, ELT, and so on. So I think those are the areas that will be moving, that will be changing from time to time. But in the end, you ask yourself, how this pipeline, how this architecture can support the organization context, the business context, the policy context. I give you a very concrete consideration, yeah, Indonesia. Indonesia, we are still so-called struggling or developing the cloud policy in the national scale. So our legislative and our Ministry of Infocom, they are still building this policy. I know in countries like Malaysia and maybe Thailand or even Vietnam, they have the cloud first policy, for example. I think that is not the case in Indonesia. We are still discussing whether we can really open the cloud adoption for in a government context. One of the idea or the consensus, okay, as long as you have the data center in Indonesia, let's say like people like Google or Amazon, then we can use the services. I think that's the mindset. So based on this consideration right now, I think 70% of my platform and infrastructure, it is still on premise, unfortunately. 30% we are trying with the cloud platform and so on. What I hope in the next 2 years, 3 years, we are using more and more cloud solution because it is more agile, it is more scalable, and it will be easier for us if we want to add more services. So I think this is the context and consideration. I know in the technology companies I worked there before, it is very easy to use the latest technology, test, and so on. But I think from us in the Jakarta government context, we need to understand as well the law, the policy, and how we can align this with the other national government agencies as well. I think that's my answer, and I've shared to you the snapshot of our pipeline. So for you, if you want to know and to learn, oh, there are so many areas, the ETL, ingestion, data mart, data warehouse, data lake, visualization, choose one first. Choose one, test, try, ask the expert, and then if you think you are comfortable, go deeper. If you think it is not for you, you don't feel natural, you want to try other things, it's okay. You can just move on and try other things. Anyway, if you're students, you are still young, I think you have time yet to explore. Let's say you can move from data engineers, become software engineers, become data analysts, data scientists. I think the chance is there. And I think that in the industry, we need people who are more open, flexible, who are more versatile, and you can learn multiple tools. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great. I think we'll go ahead with the next question. We are already, I just want to keep a note to the students. We are already limited on time, and I can see
yes,
so many
I think I
questions.
just want to tell you, if possible, I can address only one question because after this, I have another event or
Yeah, sure. So we'll just go ahead with the last question for Jon. So the last question is going to be, are you already working on such, you mentioned that you have worked with Indian government and in Indian projects as well. So can you give us a quick snapshot of what that project was all about so that the people up here can actually relate it with India as a country? Yeah.
Sure. Let me share 2 or 3 concrete examples. First one, I went to India for the World Infrastructure Congress. So I went there. So there are so many government agencies during that time as well. That's one. Secondly, recently I give a talk similar like this in the University of Delhi. So I think during that time, there are some notable figures here from the industry, from the government as well. So third one, there are some smart city collaboration ideas, like you said, about the disaster management and also about how we can replicate the success story of smart city to one another. Let's say in certain region in Indonesia or in Jakarta, in India, you are better, let's say, in terms of the transportation expertise. Let's say for us, we are maybe better in terms of the citizen response management system. Let's say in other region, maybe you are better in terms of the financial technology platform, for example. So what we want to do is how we can share not only from the research or from the sharing, but how we can ensure there's a technology collaboration that we can work together, or even we can build one use case together and we can think and we deploy our expert, then we can work together on that. I think this is ongoing and I can share with you, those are the examples. And if you want to know more, how you can work, how you can explore with Smart City Initiative, I think I'm totally open. Yeah, if you want to have discussion with me, I can share with you. Even some of you, it happens with some of the university in Singapore, in Japan, in Korea, even in Malaysia. Some of the students, some of the researchers, they ask me, hey, can we build this kind of research together with you? So if you have a really good so-called research proposal, research idea, or pilot initiative, let me know. I'm totally open to share with you, even introduce you to my team, and we can take it forward from there. I think that's my answer, and hopefully that's the last one. I'm really sorry. I need to prepare for my next meeting. And for some of the remaining questions that you still have, you can drop me an email. That's one thing. Or secondly, I'm totally open if in the future we want to have like a discussion session, maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm totally open. soon, I can work with the committee for that. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jan, for that flexibility. I think the folks who have any other questions, the email IDs and even the LinkedIn ID or Jan has already provided, you can put those questions. He will obviously take some time to answer it, but yeah, definitely will get back to you on that. So with that said, thanks, Jan, for joining with us. I think we have got such a good, environment and the insights that you have provided with us. Thanks again. So we'll wrap up the session here, everyone. I would like to everyone to just thank Jan through the chat window if possible. So yeah, that's all. Thanks, Jan, for joining it.
Pleasure as well. Thanks for the wonderful session.
Thanks for your time. Yeah, bye-bye. Bye. And the folks, please put up the feedback in the form. The form is there in the chat window. Just fill up the form, and I think we are done for the day. Yeah. So you guys can join the next session from 11:30 a.m. So the sessions are scheduled at 11:30 a.m. You guys can drop off. We are done for today. Make sure we are filling up the feedback form. Yeah, that's all. This is Hemang, this side, signing off. Bye-bye.